What's going on, y'all? So we got some good news and some interesting news. Um, and it's why I say let's be patient. We know every console launch has some problems. Key cards has definitely been one, but there's also some other stuff that gets interesting too. And it's regarding to that survey that they sent out. Something else changed today. We're gonna get into all that. Are we ready, y'all? All right, like, comment, subscribe. Let's go. According to Universal Nintendo, I've translated it into English. Switch 2 cartridges may gain new size options in the future, analysis suggests. Manufacturers indicate strategies to meet different capacities and potential changes in the chips used. It's like I was telling people. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. And then you got some people like Dreamcast guys saying they don't care. I'm like, what? No. Yeah, you can't preserve something or do something in life where you see most people don't doing it and then not care. It doesn't make any sense. No, it's just that it's third party manufacturers that want to make more profit. Obviously, Nintendo would make money off of that too, and I get what people are saying by that. But yeah, if you didn't care, you would just be like, full straight key cards. We're doing full straight key cards, and I don't care what you have to say. Let's just keep going. Okay, I'll say, okay, well then, yeah, that makes sense, but they're not going to do that. So here's the thing too. It's like, yeah, how much were they charging for this, right? And what's going on this? That's why I said we got to get to the manufacturers. If you go take a look at my recent Dreamcast guy React video, I literally was talking about that, the manufacturer. So we got a lot of stuff. It gets more interesting though. Are we ready? So as we go here, right, we see the game key to fixing our problems. Remember what I said? If they do this, guys, imagine if they still choose the key card. Yeah, it's going to get interesting, isn't it? Because there's a lot to talk about here. So one of the biggest stories right now in the world of Nintendo is the topic of Switch 2 game key cards. Exactly. These are physical game cards for Switch 2 that still require a download, meaning everything needed to play the game isn't on the game card. Yeah, like let's say if there's 20 years in the future, they decide to shut down the Switch 2 eShop or something, and all that goes down with it, and they re-up and make remakes or remasters. You know, if we get to that point and gaming is still here, which I hope so, big time, should be. There's no way for people to get to those games except rebuying them again, and they don't have the physical preservation for the Switch 2s if they're still sitting around and they somehow work for people. People want that. That I can understand, you know what I mean? That makes sense. They're not in the wrong for that, because like I said, the biggest physical base in the world is the Nintendo world and PlayStation. These are physical game cards for Switch 2 that require a download, meaning everything needed to play it isn't on the game card. This hasn't sat well with consumers since before the Switch 2 even launched, and now 2 months in, the pushback has only gotten louder. While Nintendo has yet to comment on the situation as far as potential solutions go, there might be a glimmer of hope for a new report. Chinese website YouAnalyze has put together a story on the Macronist. By the way, this is the company that is producing the 64 gigabytes. A company that worked with Nintendo on Switch game cards and is continuing the partnership for Switch 2. According to the report, game cards might be getting some wiggle room in terms of storage very soon. And I wonder if Nintendo is going to take it for themselves along with the third-party publishers. Or are they just going to stick for that for themselves? We're going to find out, aren't we? The report states that Macronix will utilize both in-house MLC NAND, see that's it right there, and outsource 3D NAND to meet varying capacity requirements. This is pretty obvious, guys, like 8 gigabytes, 16, 32, 64. What if they do 99? Right? Yeah. So we see that, right? Just to be clear, the article specifically mentions Switch and not Switch 2. But you'd have to imagine that Switch 2 would not only be included in the efforts, would be the focus. It doesn't make sense because the new market is here that you want to push. So, I mean, that doesn't make any sense. The report can be read in a way that would indicate a new wave of Switch 2 cards that will provide a different amounts of storage space for gamers. Yeah, you guys let me know what you think about this. But we don't get the specifics. It could be smaller cards could be more cost effective, or it could be even bigger cards for more sizable titles. But that would obviously come with a price increase as well. Right now, the entire situation is in speculation, so please take everything with a grain of salt or dig deeper. We're going to get to some more situations here. This is where it gets interesting. Going over here to Alona's posts, right? Because we got this over here. Looks like Nintendo disabled the survey about physical and digital games after it was shared across social media since yesterday. I think maybe we did send them a message. Survey. This survey is no longer active. So let's see. Remember this? You could click on it. It's down. Interesting. So either they're like, okay, let's Pony, sit down. I know you're in here. Let's get right to it. And then we see that happening. I think we can do some detective work here. Either that happened or there was a certain amount of surveys, right? Because that usually does happen. Okay, so it's by Qualtrics. If we see down here, let me get off the camera real quick for you guys. Powered by Qualtrics. Looks like you were using Qualtrics. Often software is used by the world's biggest brands to capture and act on feedback to help them design and improve experiences they deliver. If you have any questions about surveys, okay, so these are the main people that get surveys out. So Nintendo has to pay them to get a certain amount of surveys for people, and they decided to take it down. Okay, so we see that now. So we're just getting everything here. I'm letting you guys know everything here. We're going nerdy on this, because this type of stuff is important anyways. So going down to the post, let's go back to her post. There we go. Okay, she keeps going. Someone just pointed out that the reason the survey isn't working anymore could be because Nintendo set a response limit with Qualtrics because of financial reasons. That's what I'm thinking. If this is true, that means a lot of people have filled in the survey, and Nintendo definitely knows. Of course they do. The survey's done. They said no more capacity. We've seen the percentage, probably like 80, 90%, and we know there's people in there that are not even part of it. But if you're doing it and helping it to push the situation, like I've seen people before, that's cool. I just don't want people coming in here just to say something and distract people. It's like, but do you really want to help? You know what I mean? Or if you got a Switch 1 and you're trying to move to the Switch 2 one day, and you care, that matters because you're in the Nintendo ecosystem, right? Or people who want to get the Switch 2. I've seen Alex say he wants to get one. I don't think it's necessarily the people who don't want to get one, because like I said, why would you miss out on those experiences? It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, you could be mad at them, just like I've been mad at Sony, but I'm not missing out on certain experiences because I'm mad at certain suits. Those other developers are going to get my attention because they didn't do that to me. That's what I'm saying. If you're mature enough, you separate who you're mad at compared to somebody that didn't do anything to you. You're still making same great games. Of course I'm coming to get them. You know what I mean? Because they're not doing that to me. Balance is important. That's why you got to listen to why people make their decisions, or for certain people cast their judgments, and think always probably somehow in one direction. Like I stated in my one video before, just because somebody is saying something positive about a company or they enjoy the company a lot, and because they're that good, does not mean that they're a fanboy. And even if you do want to be a fanboy, being a fanboy is not necessarily bad. What's bad is when you start being a fanboy, going online, being toxic, commenting, blasting it in front of people's face that are not related to that demographic. Like, for example, you know what I mean? I would see sometimes ponies come on Nintendo forums, Nintendo Post, maybe certain people from other platforms too, and say negative things. I'm like, dude, this is a Nintendo only website. What are you doing on here? You know what I mean? And it's stuff like that that's the problem. Or just the toxic stuff they go on Twitter saying, or spewing misinformation, or making one company look negative so that people could just only see that company that way. But really, that's not really a problem. It's like, okay, so I can understand if it was actually real negativity and a real problem. And you'll see fanboys do this, or people who can't handle what you say try to throw something at you. And it's like, but where's the fanboyism at? Because, yeah, it's not there. But anyways, getting back to this, this is a win for gaming so far, it seems. See, there's some things that are moving in the right direction. The Mario Kart World update, the game keycard situation. Within a span of a week, we got 2 positive responses from this. AGN was never against the Nintendo community and the people that actually care about physical preservation, that actually want the Switch 2 and their physical preservation. Because like I said, when it comes to Nintendo, 97% of people that have it right now are getting what they want. Because physical preservation and people getting games for Nintendo, it's there. That's what this is mostly about. Now, the extra niche audience that wants those third-party game key cards, they're not like you don't matter. Yeah, you do matter. I'm just saying that it's good seeing that they responded to you. because this is Nintendo more than ever responding and supporting third party. And if we look at things historically, they never do stuff like this. We're seeing drastic shifts on platforms do things that never worked before, like Nintendo expanding more than ever and even more mature games for third parties on their platforms and doing stuff like this, whereas before it was mostly about first party. But now we're seeing them expand out more in the third party realm, whereas on the other platforms we see their first party expanding out and then them going multi-platform. So this generation, we are seeing some interesting stuff, some terrible things, but also some amazing things. And they're listening and they're responding very quick. Certain other people just ignore you. Then we saw Microsoft go back on the price changes. This is what I mean, using your influence the right way for problems that actually need to be addressed, that seem intelligent and reasonable, that benefits everybody. And seeing that there's actually still a relationship of feedback between the video game player and the video game company. And nobody's being hijacked saying you can't communicate with them. Just keep pushing that. If that was the case, then yeah, they wouldn't be doing this. So this is independent behavior. So this guy says right here, oh yeah, let's get some more information. Knowing how much Qualtrics charges for their surveys, I suspect they just set a limit on how many they're willing to have completed. That's also a possibility. We don't for sure have an answer, but what we do know is that the limit has been reached insanely fast. So that just tells you how huge the physical preservation is in the Nintendo world. Definitely in the handheld community. Like I told people, when you're in the Nintendo world and you're on the go, you know what I mean? Because it's a big thing. Now we're on the go part 2 with Switch 2, right? Yeah, on the go. You're not really online. You're on the go. You're outside. You're moving around, right? Unless you're kind of doing like, tethering or something like that, or you get this little box and, there's people that do that, you know what I mean? Or people that even truck and then they have their little box in their thing and they can just do that. Vice versa. But anyways, still, there's moments where you're just completely offline and you don't care. You don't need to be online. You already got all your updates and everything. It's the big thing in Nintendo world and always has been. Yeah, that matters greatly there. Me, I do docked a lot, and I'm doing handheld more now on the Switch 2 because I like that it's much bigger, and I haven't ran into any issues, by the way. I've been testing retro games, all that. Things seem to be working fine. Damn, mosquito in here. I'm killing it. I've killed 4. Let's think about mosquitoes, man. Sometimes you have long Pokemon turn-based battles with them, right? Trying to get one for 45, 50 minutes. We're still in the same turn-based battle. Imagine being in a turn-based battle that long, right? Anyways, yeah, so win for us. Let me know what you guys think about this. I'm liking this. Good. Let's keep pushing and let's get this influence out. Let's get this video out. Like it. Get it going, guys. Come on. Let's go. Peace. You have a great day. Ponies. Trickster. Hear that music? It's okay, man. Later.